Hey, welcome back to A Faster Me. This is the Bagel Ride, ran out of the Incycle in Rancho Cucamonga. And we're just starting the first segment. I've done videos on the Bagel Ride before, but usually just like one segment at a time. I'm going to do a couple segments on this one that I strung together. So this is basically the first hard effort. The Bagel Ride is it's one of my favorite rides, honestly. It's a unique type of ride because um, it's basically like an interval session, basically. So the group just kind of chills, rides at like a decent pace, kind of zone two, zone three, maybe a little bit of zone four, getting to specific locations in the area that we ride. And the first one's right here around Benelli Park. Um, and once you get to that location or segment, then it's pretty much all out like race pace at that point. Um, then there's a short regroup after each effort, and then you kind of do the same thing and just chill to the next location where we're going to hit a hard effort again. So, anyway, this is the first effort here. This is the Incycle Benelli loop. It typically starts on cobblestone, but you see an attack kind of goes off here. Um, so this is like the first effort going up Fairplex here, and kind of get caught out a little bit. Just want to get a little acceleration and try to jump back on the wheel. I'm not going to put too much effort here because it's a pretty long, hard uphill effort, and it's called cobblestone because the road is all beat up once we make the right hand here. So I basically just use some momentum and run up to the back of a wheel here. And this road is called cobblestone because the asphalt is so beat up. It's like, as you can see, it basically has cracked into like a million little kind of segments, not segments, but sections. The road is cracked into like a million little sections, making it kind of like cobblestone. So the camera doesn't do it justice, but it's really just kind of like a jackhammer right now. Like your handlebars, everything's pretty much like a jackhammer. Makes you spike power, and you're not getting a lot of grip because your wheels are off the ground a lot. But anyway, it's pretty hard effort, really fast paced. So I was sitting right here behind Rudy, and yeah, the little pace kicked up, and you see I'm like hitting almost 500 watts, and I'm kind of getting dropped here. I came into today with like incredibly dead legs, but didn't matter. I was here to give an effort and just keep the fitness, moving forward. So anyway, I'm getting gapped a little bit here, and we got our team out also, the PAA team. We got a pretty decent showing. I don't know, there might be like 8 of us out for this ride. But anyway, I'm getting gapped here, and right here on this little section, it kind of, you see the 1%, it kind of straightens out or flattens out for a little bit, and then it ramps up to about 8% once we get up here near the horse stalls. So trying to save a little bit. I want to stay attached here. So I was hoping some people came by me, but we have a really small group today. I don't know, maybe it's only 25 people, 30 people. And it's usually, kind of close to double that or whatever. So anyway, I'm pretty popped here. I just want to kind of attach to the end of the tail up there. If I can stay attached when we hit the downhill, you usually have a pretty good chance of staying on for the entire loop. But, it wasn't in the cards today. Hamstrings are just killing me. So Marlena comes by, and I'm just still trying to keep momentum, and I have a little bit of hope that we can catch them on the downhill here. Marlena's in the same boat that I'm in, though. We've been doing a lot of kind of harder training these last couple weeks, so no one has the legs right now to put in like a big effort. But ironically, obviously the fitness is starting to come around because even though my legs were completely dead, I almost PR'd this section, and it's only because I popped at the end that I didn't PR it, but I was only like, I don't know, 5 seconds off my PR or something like that. And it's basically a 15-minute effort, so anyway, here on the downhill, we're just going to pick up some speed. Hopefully sometimes you can run up on the group in front of you because they're going to be hitting the uphill in a second. So sometimes you can catch a lot of speed and then run up on them and then reattach, but I don't think it's in the cards today. So that's Iglesias in front of me there. He had started that attack, going up Fairplex. He kind of started that attack, so it's not a surprise once you do like that hard effort to kind of get detached. It's just, you really got to protect yourself around this first effort. You got to keep your pulls and stuff like that to really like 10 seconds or less. If you pull any longer than that, if you lose momentum, somebody's going to surge past you and just going to pick up the pace a little bit. So right now I'm kind of dying. I'm trying to keep momentum going, but I'm hoping someone's near me that can come by. So they come by right here. That's Melissa. I'm not sure the guy's name in front of her, but I just jumped back in. I think we're in a little group of about 6 people right now, maybe 6 or 8. I don't know. But yeah, we're just trying to keep our momentum up and try to run down the group in front of us. Even though once you get dropped, it's usually not in the cards. But at least we want to keep our momentum going as much as we can. And as people start falling off, we'll just start picking them off a little bit. It's hard though. So even though the watts are kind of down right now, finding recovery is it's hard. And, I max out at like just under 200 beats on my heart rate, but my legs are so dead on this day. Like I don't even get close to that. I just don't have any power in the legs. Melissa kind of gets caught in a bad situation here only because it's her pull right here, and she has the pull right before the next hill. And anytime you have to do a pull before the next hill, like I said, people are gonna attack up this hill, and it's a good opportunity to get detached. And there goes Edgar there, flying up the hill on us. I try to get on his wheel, but he comes by with so much momentum. Like I get zero draft from that, especially like as you can see, we're basically 6% up the hill. And like I said, I think Melissa gets detached right there because she just finished her pull, and now you got to hit a lot of power going up the hill. And that's just, my philosophy when you're in a group. It's kind of hard because like when you're chasing, you just want to chase and you have energy. But really, if this was like a real race, we'd have to protect ourselves and not take long pulls, probably only taking like a 10-second pull or so, and everybody just has to rotate through. As you can see, we were down to 8 miles per hour turning that corner. And that's just how popped everyone is. And then we got to get our speed back up as fast as we can and just try to keep the momentum going because obviously there's others coming behind us as well. We have a pretty good group now, though. I think Ray is behind me. Ray from Go Fast. Ray does all the California Crit videos and all the live streams. So, usually him and his wife do the videos. So, yeah, Ray's behind me, or maybe in front of me now. I don't even know, to be honest with you. But we got a pretty good group here of about 6 of us. So, we have a good opportunity to kind of get some rest and recovery while keeping the pace up. This is a pretty fast-flowing section here, and it's needed to get that recovery. As you can see, my heart rate's down to 171 now, which is about my threshold heart rate, somewhere in there. So it's a good opportunity with the speed, to have the draft benefit magnified, and that's Ray right there to the right. And the good thing today is they have this gate open on the dam. Usually it's like a little pedestrian gate open, only one person fits through there at a time, but today they opened the vehicle gate so we can kind of carry some momentum and get through there. And if you look to the left, that's usually where it goes, down that road there for like Laverne stage race and stuff. And Camilla, unfortunately, went that way and had to make a U-turn. That was her down there making a U-turn, trying to come back up. She had got detached from the front group, so now she's chasing behind us. So Marlena dropped the wheel here, and I just try to close it to Edgar real quick. Try to give him some help also since he pulled up the hill by us. So I'm just going to go by and try to put in a little dig. Unfortunately, I'm already kind of cracked, but like I said, I didn't have legs to begin with. But unfortunately, after I pulled this pull, I'm flicking an elbow and nobody wants to come through. Everybody's kind of hurting right now, and they know we have another kind of climb coming up. So I'm flicking the elbow here, and I'm like, hey, somebody come through, or we're going to really lose momentum. And Marlena was behind me, and she was like basically saying no, like she couldn't come through. And she hasn't done this ride that much, but she knows this Raging Water's little sharp decreasing radius turn is coming up, and she kind of didn't want to be the first one going through there, just not knowing how to take the line exactly. So I'm just basically here dangling. We almost run over the 2 old ladies there, or young ladies, sorry ladies. Yeah, we almost run over the two ladies there. They were kind of screaming at us a little bit. But yeah. So anyway, now we're gonna make a pretty sharp right hand decreasing radius. Then it jumps up a hill again at like 8-9%. This turn is kind of dangerous, honestly, because there's always like a lot of sand and dirt right at the apex of this turn. And you can see here, there's no different right there. There's a big patch of sand right in the turn. You don't want to go across that double yellow because, as you can see, it's a blind turn there and cars come down pretty fast. So I'm just trying to keep my momentum. As you can see, it's 10% grade, and Ray comes by me a little bit here, and I'm pretty much popped. Like I said, my heart rate's not going to get up today just because my legs are so dead. You know, I guess when your legs are kind of quitting on you, there's no reason for your heart to beat that high because the blood and oxygen is not going to help it that much just when you have so much muscle fatigue. So anyway, as Ray comes through, I'm just going to try to sit on his wheel and recover a little bit. That's short-lived though because, you know, Ray's a little hurting as well, so he's going to flick an elbow and I'll come through again. You know, even though these aren't races, these are, you know, it's just training rides and kind of fun Sunday rides. But Ray's a good wheel to ride and a good rider to work with. You know, very unselfish and doesn't mind contributing to, you know, whatever you're doing at the time. If you're working on something or if we're just kind of working together, all of that stuff, it's all good. So. All right, so here we go with the boys pulling through again, boys and girls pulling through again, and I need a break. And this little loop around the park, it goes pretty fast. You know, when you're doing it, it's, you know, because it's flat out, like, you know, our speed isn't the highest, but it's a pretty hard effort, you know, and it goes by pretty fast, but it's actually a 15-minute effort. And you know, if you think about it, like at the moment, I'm only racing Cat 4 most of the time, so those races are only 40 minutes, but this is a good, you know, half to a little over a third of the race already in this little effort. So it's pretty good to just, you know, kind of come out and get some work in, going, you know, fairly hard for 15 minutes. So I'm sitting kind of pretty here. I'm dying. I just, you know, I would like for it to just stay steady, but Iglesias just makes a little attack right here up the hill, and I just didn't have anything to cover it really. I was hoping Marlena jumped on it a little sooner, but yeah, I couldn't cover it, and you can see I'm doing 400 watts, and I'm kind of just dead. Like I said, I don't have legs, so I'm kind of detaching here, which honestly I should have put in a bigger effort just to stay attached, because being attached is better than being detached, and you end up doing like the same amount of watts with obviously less speed. So, and here I thought I could catch a little bit once we get to the downhill, and that just wasn't the case. This is basically, that was the last hill of this little segment. This segment's about 7 miles long. So yeah, here it's pretty much not downhill the entire way, but it's downhill right now, then it just flattens out, and then it's a false flat all the way to like the finish line. But yeah, much better effort or easier effort if I'm in the group up there, and probably doing 200 watts in the group. And you know, if I'm going the same speed they are, I'm gonna have to do a lot more than 200 watts just to keep that same pace. Again, I don't know if I said it, but yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite, probably is my favorite, you know, long-standing group ride. We did Montrose long the day before, and you know, Montrose is a great ride, but Montrose is just a little bit different, and there's no stopping, like no one's waiting for anyone. So and it's not like that's a bad thing or anything. It's just when you have people that you're riding with and you're all of different skill levels, different speed, different fitness, it's kind of hard to ride with someone on Montrose. And it's about the same distance. Montrose, yesterday I think we did 54 miles maybe, and this ride from me, like from my house back home, is 58 miles. But like I said, there's a regroup at the end of every one of these hard efforts. So if someone's dropped or not, it doesn't really matter. You're gonna kind of cruise with them to the next segment, and you all get to contest that next segment again. So You can be dropped on this first segment, you can win the second segment, and then be dropped again on the third segment. So it's just kind of keeps everyone in the game, and in between we get to chill and talk and just kind of hang out with everyone. So yeah, I think it's a great ride. If you're in Southern California and you haven't done it yet, come check it out. Basically has 2 meeting spots. One's at Incycle in Rancho Cucamonga at 8 a.m. and the other one's at the Bagel Ride in Laverne, and that's basically at 8:30. I think it leaves from there though around 8:45 or so, or just whenever whenever we think everyone's there, then it kind of takes off. So yeah, just got about, I don't know, a couple hundred yards to go here for the finish. And as you can see, it's just kind of falls flat. This is kind of like where the finish is too, when it had the old San Dimas stage races and then the Laverne stage races. This is basically the finish of the circuit race. And that loop that we did was basically the loop of the circuit race, but you'd end up doing like 60 miles just right here on that loop. So that's like 10 laps around the lake. So yeah, that was it. I think I just passed the finish line. Got my head down because I'm dying. You basically just flip a U-turn here, and then after the U-turn, there's just a little regroup spot, and we kind of wait. Like, no, everyone finishes just like a minute behind you or something like that. So after everyone comes in, we give them probably another minute to rest, get a goo, whatever you need, and then we head off to the next spot.
Wrong turn.
So yeah, Jack's been doing pretty good, and he's been putting in a lot of miles. I think he's at 5,000 miles for the year, and he's probably 300 miles a week. But yeah, I think he's on a little bit time for a recovery week or so. He was kind of cracked on I think it was on cobblestone that he was cracked. So yeah, he didn't have a good segment on that one. But he's been winning a lot of races and racing pretty well this year, and looking to move up to race masters now.
Made a wrong turn, huh?
And then there's Camila right there. Camila rides for LABA, really strong rider. She typically races the P123s, and she's also one of the athletes that I coach. So Camila does a great job, and she runs up front with all the guys in Montrose and this ride. So, and she runs up front in all the P123 races as well. So we got to try to get her on the podium though. So here's the second segment. We just crossed the intersection there, and this is San Dimas Canyon. So I fast forwarded. Obviously you don't need to see us riding zone 2 to the next spot, but so this is basically another uphill effort. Usually it's only about 4% through most of it, through like the first mile or two, and then after that we'll make a right-hand turn on Golden Springs. And when you go up Golden Springs, then it's like a 15% hill. I think it averages 12%, but it's only about 0.2 of a mile. So, but the effort is hard here. So by the time you hit the steep part, your legs are just cooked, and it's only 0.2 of a mile, and it takes you a minute plus 2 minutes to get up it. And once you've done these, like I said, your legs are cooked. So a lot of times you're just trying to survive that hill sometime. As you can see, we're going pretty good here. It's not like the fastest pace in the world, but being that it's uphill, if I'm doing 300 watts in the draft, the pace is pretty hot. Whoever's up front's putting in a pretty good dig. And I'm not even sure who's up front. I think Tony's up front and someone else. I can't remember. So yeah, they're moving. If I have to hit 400 watts just trying to hold the wheel, they're definitely putting in a pretty good dig up there. So I think that's Ray on the front now. And honestly, I don't want to be up this far. Like I said, I have dead legs to begin with, and I'd rather have a couple people in front of us. But since we have a smaller group, it's easy to separate. So I don't want to be this far up putting in this effort. But because I'm here, you got to do your part and just pull through. And at the next hump, I already know, there's going to be attack at the next hump. And just like I was saying with Melissa, like unfortunately my timing's a little off here. I tried to take a short pull, but as you can see, my heart rate's pretty high. I'm already putting in a decent amount of watts. And when I pulled through right here, there's a little elbow flick there, and I pulled through, try to keep the pace high. And then we hit the little kicker right after I pulled through. And, I'm kind of popped. I'm at almost 180 right now. And the momentum comes by, and I just kind of can't jump onto the back of it. So there they go. I thought there was more people, but it looks like there's a gap behind here. So then I end up, trying to accelerate a little bit, and just like I said, don't have any legs. But I think like when I look at it, I can see they're not. They're moving. Don't get me wrong, they're moving, but they end up kind of slowing down just a little bit, and then that group splits into two as well. And I can tell that you can see the little split there, and I knew I can catch that second group. So. And then I saw behind me, I saw Marlena coming. She's hurting as well, but I can tell that she's coming. So I just told her, hey, let's just catch that group there, catch a little break, and then, try to finish it strong. But I knew I'd catch the second group here, but the first like 4 or 5 people are gone now. So again, this road is not that steep, but so those are hard climbs sometimes. When you're only like 2 to 4% and the pace kind of stays high. Those are some pretty hard efforts, just because you have to hold speed and produce power, with the faster cadence. It's not like you're climbing or doing 300 watts on a steep climb. Those are the things that sometimes people don't realize. It's not just about how many watts you're doing, but producing the same amount of watts at varying cadences. That it's different energy systems sometimes being used. So obviously you're going to use a lot more of your aerobic system when you have like a high cadence and you're producing the same amount of watts at a higher speed, opposed to going up like a 10% or 8% grade using the same watts at a cadence of 60 or something. That's completely two different things.
Keep it steady.
So here I tell Tony, just keep it smooth, and somehow he attacks. I say just keep it steady, and he just took off. And Ray's like, I've seen smooth and steady, and that's not it. So it's kind of funny, and I'm just like, hey, I have no clue why he just took off right now. So it's his prerogative. He can do whatever he wants, but just don't know why. Like, he just shot off there. So anyway, I believe that's Mr. Huffman right here in front of me. He's strong with a Bagel Ride regular. He races as well. So here, being that we're all detached, we know that effort is coming going up Golden Springs. So yeah, once we make the right-hand turn here, it's going to shoot up to 15 or 16%. And like I said, it averages about 12%. So, and there's Tony there. I don't know why he did that attack, but yeah, he could have had a little bit more energy to shoot up the hill here. So, and you see Jack's there. He was up in the front group, and now he's like kind of busted. And that's just what happens on this ride. Like, that first effort is so hard. Especially if you stay with the front guys, that effort is so hard. By the time you get here, often you have nothing left. When you see some of the guys like, Camilla, she's super strong going up it. I can see her at the top up there. They're kind of struggling now, but I've seen Camilla, like Tony, that's up there in the front. The other Tony, not Tony Dang, the other Tony. I've seen Corey, them do it, like when they've come out to the Bagel Ride. Like, they'll fly up this hill in like a minute and something. Sometimes less than a minute. So yeah, it's crazy that I think today I do it in like 2 minutes and 8 seconds, and I think my fastest is only like 150 or something like that. But when I did it in 150, it felt like I sprinted up it, and doing it in like 208 is like hell. It's just like all you can do is keep your momentum going. And I don't know if you saw, like, it was over 15% for a minute. And it's kind of two sections. You'll have like the very beginning where it gets real steep to like 15%. Then you'll have this section where it goes down to like 8, 9%, and you feel like, okay, there's a little relief there. And then it ramps right back up to, 12% again or whatever. Yeah, see, we're at about 16% right there for a second, 15.9. Yeah, I think that's what's her name? Juliana. Juliana, that's her name, Juliana. And then there's Tony, he came back just to taunt us right there. He just came back to encourage us, but it's also when you're suffering and someone's encouraging you like that, that's already finished. That's taunting, basically. So.
I know.
So yeah, that's segment number 2 is over, and that one's a lot shorter. It's only like a 6-minute effort, but as you can tell, it's a beast. So there's Camilla again coming back to greet me and encourage me. So I appreciate it.
It's fun though.
I tell her like, yeah, it's definitely a hard segment, but at the same time, it's a little bit fun. This is definitely a fun ride. It's
I need more people to save me.
really a good spirited ride. If someone gets a flat, we all stop, kind of help if we can. We don't just take off and leave everyone. As you can see here, this is at the top of, not the top, but it's at the Baldy climb. This is at Shin Road. So I didn't really contest Padawa or anything, which was the segment before this. And then we just get this last little fast segment going. I don't really have a name for this one though. It just leads up to the, a segment on Strava called the Mountain Sprint. So after this little downhill, where we kind of push the pace a little bit, try to get in a breakaway, stuff like that, if you can break away. It's downhill, so obviously it's going to be a fast segment. And then there's a pretty steep uphill at the bottom where we kind of use that as the sprint, like a sprint finish. And that's pretty much the last hill of the day, or last incline of the day. So this is a real fun segment here as well. It's really short though, just like a couple minutes. So again, I have dead legs. I was cramping basically going up the hill. We just climbed, you guys didn't see it, but we just climbed like a, pretty good amount, I don't know, like 1,000 feet or something, but in a short distance. But yeah, so my legs were completely dead here, but since no one's there to come around, I just got to pick up the pace a little bit and see if they will warm up, spin them out, and then just see how it plays out. And I say this is downhill, which it is, but there's a couple rollers in between. So it's not just downhill the whole time. There's a couple like 3-4% rollers in here, but you're going so fast, like you just basically can use momentum and roll over them. So there's Ray picking up the pace going by. We got Ray and Jack tries to attack there. We got Rudy on his wheel, and then Camilla chasing and Marlena chasing. So I just jump in. I can feel the draft from here. We're doing 38 miles per hour, so the draft is like pretty far back. You can see I'm not putting in that big of an effort to catch, and I'm gonna catch easily. And basically, I'm gonna coast half the way and just like go by them in not a super tug, but just just tucked in here. So as you can see now, like I'm not even using any watts whatsoever. So I'm gonna slot back in here, jump on Rudy's wheel. Ray's trying to do a good job here, going up the little roller, trying to keep our momentum pretty good, pretty high. Last week, Ray and I broke away in this section, and we ended up staying away, just the two of us for the most part, and no one was able to catch us on this little section. So it's always just kind of fun, being that pretty much all of us race and everything. It's always fun when you have like the high speed sections. Especially when you're not using much effort to gain that speed. So you can see I'm like in a really nice air pocket here. I'm not like putting in any watts, and Rudy's keeping the pace pretty good here, and I'm basically getting a free ride for the most part. I come through here to get, to keep the pace high, just give them a little break. But I know the sprint section is coming up pretty soon, so I'm not going to stay on the front too long, just keeping the momentum going. So here I flick an elbow to try to get Marlena to come through. So here Marlena comes through again, just taking her pull. Going up a little riser again, got Ray on her wheel. So now we're all trying to just set up for the sprint finish. Once we make this left here in between the mountains right there, you'll see kind of like a wall in front of us. That's the sprint up the hill. I just tell Marlena, try to keep your pace high so she can keep her momentum going up the hill here. I want to move to my left a little bit, but Tony's kind of behind me. He tells me go ahead, but we're just going too fast and there's not like a lot of room there, so no need to make it dangerous though. Here I can tell Ray's trying to keep the pace, but he's kind of dying, and I need a lead out, so I'm gonna try to play a trick on Jack here, and it ended up working. I'm just gonna jump out in front real quick because I knew if I jumped, that Jack would jump, and then I would be able to use him as a lead out. So I just jump for a second, slow down, there goes Jack, and then I just jump in behind him and use him as a lead out up the hill. As you can see, I launched the sprint there, and it's not even that I have that many watts or anything, but it was easily to use them as a lead out here and just go up the hill. And there's actually like no one behind me. Jack was like the only one, so everybody else was kind of like just on, kind of popped a little bit on the effort before. So that was about it, really. That's the last like incline there. And this is really fast section downhill, but I don't record it only because it's just fast and we just chilled downhill. Because we're kind of like on our way back to the beginning, which is the Bagel Ride where, most of the team parked at or whatever. So this is just us cruising back. And, well, yeah, not really cruising back, but we just pace lined it kind of back. We're not pace lining now only because I'm setting up for a right-hand turn. And most of them are not in this area, so I'm just telling them that, hey, we turn right at the light. And then after we turn right at the light, I'll just do one more attack for the, just for, for good measure, just at the end of the day. And, after that, we're basically back at Incycle. So. And that's Billy in front of me there. That was Billy and Brian that I just passed. So we're all going to be kind of at the Team TTs this weekend out in Lake Los Angeles, and then Barry Wolf on Sunday. So yeah, Brian's to my left, and I'm just going to do one more little attack here just to get a little sprint and attack in. So I got a pretty good gap here on this little attack and just kind of floated home, just kind of coasted after that because there was, really no one chasing that hard or whatever. So, and the ride's over basically. Once we hit the light down there, that's foothill, make a right, and we're back to Incycle. So that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching. It's one of my favorite rides, the Bagel Ride. Ran out of Incycle in Rancho Cucamonga. So if you're ever in town, come on out, join the ride, and again, thanks for watching, and we'll get some race videos out again next week.
And we'll turn right on foothill all the way at the bottom. And we'll be right at the Incycle.